Hello, welcome to the DraftKings Daily Trot. I'm Big Italy 42, talking about tonight's slate of action on DraftKings, of course. And I'm going to start off here at the top, of course, talking about pitcher and talking about your top options. And your top option, I don't think it's particularly close. Matt Harvey, despite an 8.5 run total, is at Arizona. He's a minus 140 favorite, and he's the biggest favorite on the board for tonight's slate. And despite not being a huge favorite, he does get Jeremy Hellick's on the other side, who I expect to get hit pretty hard. He should get plenty of run support. You're worried about guys like A.J. Pollock and Paul Goldschmidt a little bit in this one, but not a lot. I mean, Harvey's by far the most talented arm here. You got him at 10.4K tonight. I think he's the first guy you got to lock into your cash games here. Your other options at pitcher, Jake Arrieta struggled those last couple games. Now he gets the Nationals on the road. Gave up 3 home runs in his last game. Granted, that was at home against KC. Pitched at Arizona at the time for that. So, not great matchups. This matchup, not ideal either. I just don't think he's a cash game option for me. I'll be considering him in some tournaments for sure. Michael Wacha is in play, $8,700. He does get a tough matchup against the Dodgers. I just don't feel like he has a lot of a ceiling. So, he makes for more of a cash game play for me at 8.7 against the Dodgers and Carlos Frias, who I do think he'll get some run support as well. Gio Gonzalez certainly on play with the Cubs' high strikeout rate, but he hasn't been very good, very consistent at least. 3 of his last 4 starts, pretty awful. Really struggling against righties. Actually has the highest WOBA allowed to righties of any pitcher on the board today, so not a guy I have a lot of faith in. Trevor Bauer is in play for tournaments. Obviously, we know KC, a team I really don't like to target with opposing pitchers. They don't strike out much. They put the ball in play. They've got some power all the way through the lineup, so I'm not going out of my way to play him, but I think he's certainly a consideration for GPPs. As you're looking at Roenis Elias, I'm not playing him tonight. I know he has some upside. He's shown some upside. Actually fared pretty well against this Tampa Bay team, but this is a Tampa Bay team that does hit lefties pretty well. If he was more around the 6 to 6.5K range, maybe I consider him in a tournament. But 7.3, I'm just not a big fan. Aaron Harang is a guy who's been pitching much, much better than that. I'd much prefer having him. Hasn't had many blow-up starts this year. Been right around, 15 to 25 just about each time. Reds offense really hasn't done a whole lot recently, so 6.8K, I think he's a nice secondary cash game play for you there. As you're looking at cheaper guys, no thanks for any. I mean, you could look at a guy like Chris Young, who actually has pitched fairly well. He also doesn't have a lot of a high ceiling, right about a league average strikeout rate, but 4.9K is very interesting. And then Erasmo Ramirez pitched really well his last start. I don't have any faith in him in cash games, but tournaments, $5,300, you could definitely get it going against the Seattle team in Safeco. Catcher today, really ugly. Yan Gomes, your most expensive option at 4.2K. I like him a lot in tournaments. When you're looking for cash game options, it's going to be tough tonight. You got Wilson Ramos against Jake Arrieta. I guess you can consider. A lot of these guys in tough matchups. You got Yadi Molina, hasn't really shown any upside, but still a pretty good hitter. Gets Carlos Frias. Although Frias has been tough against righties, I think he's an okay play there. As you go down cheaper, I'm going to be looking for a guy like Brian Pena to put in my lineup tonight, especially in cash games. 2.8K just makes a lot of sense in this matchup. If for some reason he's not in the lineup, I'm fine with Tucker Barnhart in that same matchup, 2.2. You're not expecting a lot of things out of these guys, but especially Pena puts the ball in play, and it's an okay matchup against Aaron Harang. The catcher's just really bad tonight, so I'm really not going on my way to target these other guys. If Robinson Chirinos, they say he was available to play yesterday, he did not. Should be back in the lineup today against the lefty Carlos Rodon. I think he's certainly in play for tournaments. I love targeting him against lefties in terms he's got a lot of power. 3.6K for him. First base, love Joey Votto at 4.7 against his old buddy Aaron Harang. Jose Abreu got another home run last night. Giovanni Gallardo, worse against lefties than righties, but Jose Abreu, as we know, can hit anyone. Not paying 5.3K for Goldschmidt against Harvey. I guess you could consider it in a tournament, but I'll probably have Harvey in every one of my lineups tonight, considering it's only 7 games and not a lot of options. So not a route that I'll be taking. Lucas Duda, I absolutely love against Jeremy Hellickson. Hellickson's been a reverse splits type of guy throughout his career, but been pretty awful against lefties this year. 420 WOBA allowed so far. 16 earned runs and 19 2/3. I'll be looking at Lucas Duda a lot tonight. Brandon Moss, first base or outfield. I'll probably play him in the outfield, but 4.9K. Against the fly ball pitcher, I like him a great deal as well. Carlos Santana, same situation there. And then Anthony Rizzo, nice tournament play at 4.7 and lefty-lefty against Gio Gonzalez, who Hasn't been particularly great against lefties either. I definitely like him. Cheaper guys, Adam LaRoche at 3.9. Mentioned Gallardo struggles against lefties this year. 319 WOBA allowed. I think I'll be looking his way as well. Ryan Howard against Anthony DeSclafani. Speaking of lefty struggles, 339 WOBA allowed for Anthony DeSclafani, so I definitely like him. I'm not going much cheaper. You can actually play Logan Forsythe at first base now. He has first base and second base eligibility. They changed that up, but we'll get to him in a second. I'll transition over now and say I like him at second base. He hits lefties really well. Reynes Elias, not a great lefty. 3,200 for him. Like him a lot. I think that my second baseman is going to be comprised of either him, Brandon Phillips at 3.9K, Daniel Murphy at 4.4, once again picking on Hellickson, or Chase Utley at 4K against DeSclafani. I think Utley going to be more of the GPP guy due to his high price tag. And I mean, he still hasn't been great. He had a good game against Johnny Cueto the other day, but it seems like he just owns Johnny Cueto. So he's certainly a play. I think that Logan Forsythe is the guy for me in my cash games. 3.2K is just too cheap for a guy who's just been destroying left-handed pitching all year. And then you can look at Hanser Alberto. Now that he's not facing Chris Sale. Min salary, $2,000. Definitely like him tonight against Carlos Rodon if you need a really cheap punt. And yeah, I don't mind. I'll probably be throwing him in a lot of my tournaments tonight. Third base, a couple options I really like. Chris Bryant, 4.3K. Gio Gonzalez, I mentioned his righty struggles this year. Highest WOBA allowed, 363 of any of the pitchers tonight. So Chris Bryant, certainly a guy you can consider with a cheap price tag even. Todd Frazier, of course, great matchup against Aaron Harang. He's got a ton of power, especially in Citizens Bank Park there. I'll be looking his way as well. Matt Carpenter, 4.4K. You know the drill with him in cash games. And Evan Longoria, once again against a lefty, 3.8K. Absolutely love him. You can look at Joey Gallo if you'd like. Obviously, he's going to be a sexy pick. Homered again last night, but you know, after Chris Sale left the game, of course. 3.7K for him. He's in play for tournaments, but I think his ownership is going to be so high. Probably not a guy I'll be looking at very much. And as we transition over here to shortstop, one guy I'm looking at in particular, Hanser Alberto, by the way, has a shortstop eligibility as well. I'm looking at Ruben Tejada. Should be batting second, 2.8K. Been hitting the ball really, really well. He's going to be pretty much a lock for my cash games tonight against Jeremy Hellickson. I think he's a fine tournament option as well. Other options you've got, obviously going to be more expensive. Ian Desmond, 3.8 against Arrieta as a GPP option. Wilmer Flores, another guy against Hellickson. This one in Chase Field, of course. I think I much prefer the $1,200 discount for Tejada, but he's got a lot of power. And then, of course, Johnny Peralta at the top. Probably your safest option. He's been hitting over $300 all year. $4,200. Not a bad spot for him either. As we move to the outfield, Bryce Harper gets Jake Arrieta. He's always in play. I don't care who he's playing. 5,100. Get him in some of your GPP lineups, of course. Not going to be a cash game play for me, especially at that price. But he's a guy you're going to want some exposure to if you're playing multiple lineups. Already talked about Brandon Moss. I do like him. Of course, Nelson Cruz against anyone. He does get a righty today. You prefer a lefty, but he's got a ton of power. 18 homers on the year. 5,100 for him. A guy I like that I think may go low owned because of his price tag, Jason Hayward. He's $4,400. Carlos Frias has allowed a 416 WOBA to lefties so far this season. So I want to get a piece of that. I think Hayward gives you a nice way to do that because I do like Matt Carpenter at third, like I said, but other options I do like a little bit more. Steven Souza jacked another one last night, $4,200. I'm looking his way in tournaments as well. If you want your ultimate contrarian play, A.J. Pollock. The guy is just destroying the ball right now. He's stealing bases. He's hitting home runs. He's doing it all. $4,100 against Matt Harvey. You obviously don't like targeting guys against Matt Harvey, but for a tournament, gotta love him. Curtis Granderson, another Met, $4,000. People might be scared of that price tag, but I want as much exposure as I can to Jeremy Hellickson tonight. And no, Mark Trumbo probably will not be in the lineup, I'm guessing, tonight. He's listed as Arizona today, so I don't know if he'll be playing tonight for Seattle. He did get traded yesterday, in case you weren't aware of that. So just keep that in mind. Adam Eaton, the guy's doing it all right now, $3,900. He's going to be a lock for my cash games tonight at 3.9K. He had a home run a couple days ago, had a double and a stolen base last night. Another one of those all-around players you just love to target. And once again, Dexter Fowler, he didn't do anything for me last night, but I'm going back to it. I like Dexter Fowler. I like his all-around skills at $3,800 tonight. Joey Butler, gotta love him. These Tampa Bay bats, they've been hitting lefties really well. $3,600, great price tag for him. Jake Elmore, if he's in the lineup at $2,000, another bare minimum guy for you there. in the outfield. And as you're looking at other cheap guys, not a whole lot to love. You could look at a guy like Alex Guerrero if he's in the lineup, 2.9K, but I don't know what this guy has to do to get in the lineup. He only played one of the Coors games. He's a guy to consider, but not a guy that I love. And David DeJesus at 3.3 or Brandon Guyer at 3.4. If one of those two guys leading off, I'll be looking their way as well. And with that, that's going to wrap things up here. Find us on Twitter at DF Cafe. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out all of our content for tonight's slate and every other slate, dailyfantasycafe.com.